So about okay, so we run couple of, we run most of the event. One of the event is Blogger of the Month. So you can start writing your blogs, and you can reach out to the community people. You can reach out to the QA Talks community to get your blogs or get published on the platforms. Okay, so based on the the best writer and best blogger, and we will be rewarded them like a certification announced for the blog of the month. And every month we will be selecting one blogger for the from the QA Talks community, and they will be rewarded as well. Okay, so that is one of the program that is currently going on. If you guys interested, please, please reach out to the QA community people. Okay, and upcoming events. So we have this codeless conference event, which is running on, coming in on the April month. So it is completely a pre-event. So we have invite this already in our LinkedIn page, and if you guys interested, I will post the event link in the chat window also. So that's where you can sign up for the event and get benefited. So here, this codeless conference for 2022, we have planned like a couple of more than 6 to 5 tools which will support for the low code and no code technologies. Okay, so it is completely a free event. Please ask your friends and colleagues, respective people, to sign up for the event. Okay, it is coming on April. Okay, and it is April 9 and 10. Okay, and we have a Techno training. So which is, we have some specialized people who to train on the different skills and tools like a Selenium, Catalan, Cypress. This is a paid one. So it is based on the classroom training where you have to come and register yourself for your interested classes. Okay, so this is also run by our QA community, QA Talks community. Okay, so apart from this, we have a couple of community sponsors. So one of our diamond sponsor is AxleQ, which is AI powered codeless automation and a test management platform on the cloud. So we know like there are a lot of no code and low code powered API powered automations tools are coming in the market. So AxleQ is one of very powerful tool. So you can start implementing your low code or no code automation for the AI powered testing. Okay, and we have a silver sponsor which is Tulan. So it is basically a service provider on IT consulting. So they have different platforms and different products to support the API testing, database testing, with multiple things like Idaitalam. There is a Idaitalam server where you can write a sheet. Write a test cases in spreadsheet that you can convert as a feature file. There are a lot of platforms. Services they have. So a couple of things I want to tell, like which is one is Idaitalam and Idaitalam server, which I have experienced. Okay. And we have another gold sponsor, which is Lambda Test. Most of you people must be aware of Lambda Test. It is powered automation and live interactive cross-browser testing on the real browser operating system in a different operating system. Okay, you can run your test script in the cloud side. Okay, by using this Lambda Test. So where you have, if you don't have multiple infrastructure setup, you can go for the Lambda Test. And we have bronze sponsor, which is Metrics IQ. Basically, they are service provider. So they have a lot of services to support our quality in the efficient way. Okay, and we have this community collaboration, so which is donators. Also, Test Compass. Test Compass is basically a model-based one. So, and we have QTube, which is our YouTube channel. So whatever the recordings now, class sessions will be shared in the channel. Okay, so this is community collaboration. And we have certificate sponsor, which is Certified Me Online. So the certificates we are getting support from Certified Me Online. And apart from this, we have a community collaboration, which is ATA group, and we have a selectors curve, which is XPath and CSS selector tool, which will help you to find this XPath and CSS selector for the locators. And we have a testing Techno and Testomat.io as well, and the Prover testing also. Okay. And before we start the session, I just want to let you know, guys, if you have any questions, so please feel free to ask in the chat window. So chat window will be enabled. So once the event is, the presenter is done with the presentation, so we will go for the Q&A section, and we will go by the questions one by one to get cleared and answered by the presenter. Okay. And today, so we have as a part of QA Talks webinar, Techno Leads Talk 2022, and today is episode 3. And we have a topics called test management as a lead. Okay, so we are running this lead talk. So most of the leads, they want to come up and they want to share their experience, how effectively we can become a QA lead or QA manager at the respective hierarchy level. Okay, so today the test management as a lead, it will be, I mean, our speaker is Poornima, so who has around 12 years of experience in the industry, and this is certified. So she is a certified Scrum Master, and he is certified product owner, and she has I mean done enough work on this 12 years of experience, and she worked on around like 5 companies. That is all about this our speaker today. Okay, so welcome all again to the board, to the event. So yes, Poornima. So the stage is yours. You can take over from here. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Sharavanan, and thank you, QA community, QA Tech Talk community, for giving the opportunity. Let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, Poornima. You can please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm before you all to present a topic on test management as a lead. Okay, so basically, I will quickly walk through what all things I'm going to cover today. Firstly, to begin with, why test management? Parts of test management, where I'm going to cover test planning, execution, and then what we achieve by following test management, and further best practices of test management and test management tools, some of the test management tools, and finally the summary. Okay, so isn't it interesting when Bill Gates say that we have as many testers as we have developers, and testers spend all their life, all the time testing, while developers spend half of their time testing, right? So this is like we are hardcore, not just the developer do the testing, we are the existence of quality, right? So why do we need testing? So our objective is testers need to make the product fail, not at the production, but yes, at the development environment, where we make it fail to analyze whether what are the possible ways of the product can fail, so that by end of the delivery we have a qualitative product in place. And let's understand what's the test management and what's the purpose. The purpose of test management is to allow us objectively measure the quality and track the progress. It also helps to gain an understanding of how efforts are progressing, and we can measure the business value of testing effort. Now, then what's test management then? Test management is a systematic approach of organizing, controlling, ensuring traceability and visibility of testing process to deliver high quality software application. In short, it's an activity of managing entire testing approach, and it's required for high quality software delivery. And now I'm going to cover on test management parts. It has test planning and execution. And here we have risk analysis. Can one of you tell me what is the risk that we all have experienced? Anybody interested to share their risk in the project? Okay, so I'll tell you, in 2020, globally, we all faced one risk, that's pandemic, right? So pandemic is a big risk we all faced. And the reason of this risk is, we did not have adequate hospital infrastructure, and it ultimately resulted in failure of the economy, and currency fell down miserably. We did not have adequate import export and all those, right? So now let's understand what is the risk. Risk is an uncertainty of an outcome. Anything that we fail to manage, it is going to impact negatively in our project. Risk is an ongoing activity. It requires continuous collaboration between developers and testers. And you should be constantly in touch with the team to understand what is the risk involved in a project. What are the type of this risk? This could be resource one, or it could be a risk of people, technology. It could be anything, right? As a test lead, when we look at the risk, what are the way of identifying this risk? Our focus as a manager is to identify what are the potential risks that could occur in a project. If those risks occur, what are the possible failures that we would experience? We should analyze the frequency of this risk and analyze the impacted areas, and finally come up with the alternative solution of how this risk could be mitigated, right? And then decide the solution to implement when we actually come across those risks. Some of the examples of risk that I have faced in a project are unclear specification of the requirement. It could be neglected design, or scope of the testing or the project is not clearly specified. It could be time crunch or operational challenges or a high cost. Now, I would like to move on to next topic, that is test estimation. It's mainly done by the test managers, right? Test estimation is a management activity which has to be done by test manager to understand approximate time needed in order to carry out the activity. This is a whole ownership of test manager. For example, he has to understand what is the time required to complete this activity, how many resources are needed, and what is the budget allocated. We have to, as a lead, we have to analyze the effort estimation in terms of resources, how many skilled resources are needed. It could be about the infra as well. It could be a task people would do, equipment we have, or do we have all the license tools. So it could be that. And then coming to the time, what is the duration, what is the deadline of this activity? We have to analyze that part as well. And coming to the human skills, there could be some instances of where skill set is a rare one, right? So we have to analyze, and anything that comes with the time and cost, we have to know the budget. These all things are part of the estimation. And what are the estimation techniques that we can involve in terms of test estimation? It could be work breakdown structure, what we call as a WBS, where a bigger task is divided into smaller pieces and then further pieces like task and subtask. And we are going to go to the granular level of identifying what is the average time it would take. Together, we are going to give a cumulative of data as an estimation. And what are the benefits of these estimations? Correct estimation results in superior planning and execution monitoring of the task. Result is also more precise when you have a scheduling. Let me move on to the next slide, next topic, that is test plan and test strategy. Let's understand what's a test plan. Test plan is an activity which drives all future testing activities. This document has all the scope of the testing, objective of the testing, and what are the needed activities that would be required in testing. It could be about assumptions, risk, mitigation, and what has to be the deliverables, what is the schedule, right? So we might have all this data. However, in some of the project, if it is a small organization, this is a single document which has the test plan. But for a bigger organization, test strategy document is the main one, where they specify the higher level of the strategy that organization would drive, and ultimately which all small projects have to implement. Coming to a bigger organization like IBM, Accenture, Google, they all have an organization level strategy which would be applied. Okay. So finally, when the test strategy is ready, we are going to apply that test strategy in our test plan and create one single documentation which we are going to utilize. Test strategy document also has a type of testing we are going to do, approaches that we would follow, what are the testing methodologies we are going to follow, and it also has a focus on the deliverables. Now focusing on the test organization. Okay, organization. Here, since we have done a sufficient test planning, test estimation, and strategy, now we should be able to give deliverables. In the sense, we have to assign roles and responsibilities to each individual. This also creates the ownership of activities to the entire team, so that we have to ultimately sit and evaluate whether they are able to deliver the activities or not. Moving on to the next slide, that is the execution part. Okay, so when we have done sufficient execution, we should now focus on, we have to set the goals and expected performance, how we are going to evaluate, against which team would be evaluated. Here, I have, as a lead, we should follow on test monitoring and control. Let's understand, what if we do not monitor and control the activities? In such instances, we might run out of the budget schedule, which will probably be run out of a resource eventually. So as a lead, our focus has to be, monitoring the activities. What is the expected goal? How much is the deviation from the expected goal? And further observe if there are some of the critical failures. Then we have to report those all failures, record and report those failures. This is part of the monitoring. As part of the control, if we are running out of the budget, or if we are deviating from the existing schedule, as a lead, we should take a control on how this can be fixed prior, rather than stretching our deadlines at the end. Okay. Next is about the issue management. I have already spoke about the risks that are coming in a project, and we have already analyzed what are the possible types of the risk. Any risk that we have once predicted, if it is occurring in a project during execution, these are recorded as an issue. And as a lead, our focus is on the issue identification and what is the impact and prioritization of the issue. And as a lead, we should also come up with an objective strategy in order to fix those issues and take an immediate action such that it is evaluated and resolved. Some of the issues that I have encountered in my project are insufficient resources, tighter deadlines, lack of funding, and another issue is not all the test resources are in the same location, right? Next one is about the test report. Evaluation and test report is evaluation of the test report plays a major role, because this is the proof of all the activities that as a testing team we have carried out. And this is a document which has details of all the testing that we have carried out, the results that we have gathered, and if there are some of the highlights that we have recorded during our execution. Test reports plays a major role. Any little information would also to be conveyed to the management can be considered here. Now let's understand what we achieve. Okay, so by having highly efficient test management process influences higher customer satisfaction and a timely delivery. This also results in a good where we meet customer expectation. And high quality software delivery is the ultimate goal of following all the test management principles. And this also helps to manage a tighter deadlines, allows good collaboration between the team members. And ultimately, this will help to achieve a less design errors or a failure code getting deployed onto the production. And now I'm going to talk about the test management best practices. Here, in order to implement the test management, we should always start the testing early. Though it is not technically, most of the time it is not feasible, because some of the time requirements are not sure. Stakeholders may not agree, and even the test bed may not be ready. However, starting testing activities early gives lot of buffer, lot of clarity on what has to be delivered, and if there are major failures, we can raise attention immediately. And keeping the writing test cases precise will also help in order to carry out the further testing activity. As a lead, bringing a flexible testing process will help even the team, and also they can go into the further detailing. Having a clear understanding on the requirement and writing the test cases based on the requirement and user acceptance will also widens the area of good coverage. And test scope and test coverage are one of the strategies as a lead or in any project which we have to develop, so that we have a maximum coverage of all possible errors that users are going to experience once it is being deployed onto the production. Post pandemic, it's all virtual teams, so good coordination between developers and testers, or it could be a co-located testing engineers. This is a need of the hour because it's all virtual. Automation saves lot of time, and having a good automation and implementing lot of automation exposure within the project, bringing the automation scope in the project saves lot of time in terms it saves lot of quality of the product as well. Now, since now I'm going to talk about the test management tool. Test management tool allows automatic generation of all the requirement traceability matrix, which is an indication of functional coverage of tests under functional coverage of all the test cases under test. Test management tool also has a multifunctional capability like test ware management, test scheduling, logging of results, test tracking, incident management, and reporting. The ultimate goal of test management tool is to deliver the sensitive information that will help all the leads in evaluating quality of the product even before the delivery. And this will also give us the sensitive information which are graphically represented, which can help us understanding on a high level. Test management tool also has an integration of bug tracking system where we can actually identify the flow or the failure of the bugs. We can also analyze the progress of the quality of our testing when the bug rates are high and the quality of development products. Test management tool also helps in mapping our project management activities right in the planning itself because it has that interface. There are several commercial and open source test management tools are available today, and most are web-based, so which are easily available. Here, I have listed 6 different tools. However, which tool has to be selected purely depends on the understanding of the business requirement. Okay, and to begin with, I have specified HPQC, ALM, Application Lifecycle Management. This is the most used test management tool. It is one high-end tool that provides a robust tracking and reporting. Some of the features of HPQC are: it helps to develop a tool accurately, provides a real-time visibility and quality of the application. Next is IBM Engineering Lifecycle Management. This is also called as IBM Rational Tool earlier. Basically, this helps to manage changes across the entire team, and this will help to understand whether your product meets all the requirement or not. And then comes the Bugzilla. This is a bug tracking tool. It is designed for tracking the test cases. It helps to track the progress of weekly progress of the test cases, and here the reports are exported in CSV file, and where you can set priorities for the individual test runs. Next is the test trail. It's the best for managing, tracking, and organizing testing. And however, it is comprehensive test case management tool which will help you in terms of managing testing efforts, get a real-time insights on the testing activity. It is easy when it is tracked individually. Compared to the result across multiple test runs, we can evaluate easily. Next is Testify. It's an open source tool which is applicable and beneficial only when the project team size is less. It can manage up to 3 people, and it's free and open source tool which mostly suits for these small teams. And here you can receive instant updates, and all browser sessions are quite easy, and it's user friendly. Last but not the least, it's JIRA. JIRA is a tool which is mostly beneficial in most of the projects that I have used because of its cost effectiveness, and it promotes a good workflow powerfully and help to get traceability easily, and it's a greater integration part of the project. Okay, next, moving on to the next slide. Finally, though within the project management, test management plays a major role. It's a project within itself. If we do not test the application properly, because any process to be followed diligently requires time, effort, and commitment. And if these are not easily obtained from all the team members, and from the survey, it says that annual estimate of overall 25% of the projects are failed, while 45 projects are something which run out of the time and doesn't meet the business requirement completely. So as a test engineers, we are expected to understand entire business, not just the code. So developers can have a piece of a code, a piece of information in detail where they can code their content. However, engineers need to have an entire business knowledge along with the requirement knowledge. So this is more crucial part when it comes to quality of the product. And by testing itself, we analyze whether the product is successfully going to deliver or it needs a lot of improvement within the project. With this, I have come to an end. Thank you for patiently listening. And if you have some questions, feel free to ask me. Anybody has any questions? No questions?
Yeah.
Good.
Am I audible?
Yeah, Anirudh, you're audible.
Right. So I had a question, and I'm not sure if it's in context to this one, but what I heard is a number of big companies. What they're doing is they are closing the quality departments of their company. So they are telling the QS to either move to dev side, learn development, or otherwise. So is that like going to be the trend? I mean, it's hard to predict any trend currently, but what do you say about that?
Okay. If you ask me, testing is, as long as development exists, testing exists. That's why I showed you first slide of Bill Gates, where he's telling testers are needed in order to break the system, check how it is working, and developers are doing similar activities. Coming to your question in detail, see, organizations are moving from manual to automation. And if you look at the agile way of adopting the things, even the testers are called as developers. Now, no longer single skill set is going to survive in the industry. With the fast trends of people knowing a lot of automation, you are as good as, ultimately it's about the coding, automation or development, it is about the coding. It's the way you approach the giving solutions, right? So with agile, everybody is a developer. Any test case that comes into any requirement that comes from a stakeholder, it is distributed equally. It is team's responsibility of delivering. So here they are encouraging to move from more of manual, more of monotonous testing to automation. So testing is going to coexist. It's nothing like it will not be there. Just that upskilling is need of our understanding the new technology trends. Part of the testing is what is needed. Hope this answers your question.
Yes, it does. I do have another question as well, if it's okay. May I go ahead?
Sure, please.
Right. So you said about automation, but right now in the market there are a number of codeless automation tools as well. Just before coming to this meeting, I was checking test project, which is codeless and is completely free as well. So as a quality manager, what do you prefer? The coded ones like Selenium, Appium, or Cypress, or do you prefer the Scaltalon or test project kind of things, which are codeless as well and don't take much time to create projects?
Agree. anything that comes, it has to go through initial level of adaptability. Even if I have to go for code to codeless or codeless to code, we have to do a basic POC. It suits my project better. So here it's this is more kind of situational. In my project, what suits me better, I have to go for it. We cannot come to a single conclusion that this suits better or not. And one more thing is the participants here, feel free to add your views. Probably you might have some additional thoughts about the questions asked. Okay, so Anirudh, about yours. See, if my project demands, I'm working as a project manager, and if my project demands, I cannot directly go into conclusion. This is what suits better. We have to do a POC. We have to analyze, and we have to compare even the cost and time, and then we can finally go into this. This is new trend. A lot of research has to be done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, any more questions?
Yes, Poornima, like we have a couple of questions in the chat window. So I'm going one by one. So what kind of approach do you recommend in Agile world for estimation?
Agile estimation.
Yes.
It's the story point estimation is what we prefer in Agile, where functional points and story points are analyzed based on a bigger chunk of activity. We have to identify how many story points it's going to take. It's the Fibonacci series that we evaluate in Agile, and then come to a conclusion how much time it will take. Ultimately, in Agile concepts, what Agile concept explains is, understand the story point, understand the impact. If you can actually consider that part of that sprint, and take it, otherwise it will be pushed next.
People may use this poker card selections estimation as well. So it depends.
Yeah.
Correct. So we have another question from Ashish. How important cloud skills like a CI/CD knowledge is for a QA role? So you can tell some insights on that cloud-based skills.
Okay, so I'll tell you some more things about me. I'm currently handling a cloud project where we are completely onto CI/CD. I'm part of the project which is onto cloud certification. So your question is more onto how much of cloud knowledge is necessary in terms of tester, right, Ashish? It's the same question. Okay.
Yes. He said yes.
Yes. Okay. Continuous integration, continuous delivery is a current trend because it is aligned to DevOps concepts where we have to deploy the things. We have to develop the things, deploy immediately because of the current trends of the industry where everybody wants the products to be delivered in a short duration. So cloud knowledge is an add-on because nothing is on-prem now. Everybody, including us, no longer we want to access our hard disk or anything for a new movie. We want to go to the Netflix or Prime, Amazon Prime, because we want to access from the cloud. So similar way, all the technology trends are shifting towards cloud. Any upskill, any new skills that are coming, including clouds, has a lot of weightage for a tester. You will also have a clarity on what user wants, because nobody wants any application that takes a lot of time. Cloud is quicker, faster, and more reliable these days. So cloud knowledge is must.
Yes, that answer helps. So we have another question. Please explain in detail about the test strategy.
Sorry, test
strategy.
Test strategy. Okay. Test strategy is more about, here we are going to define what is the approach that we are going to follow in a project. Test strategy contains the scope of testing that we have to follow, and also with a good coverage, test coverage. By doing what approach, we can have a maximum coverage in terms of test, maximum quality in terms of what has to be the delivery. Are we going to accept 10% of the defect leak, or it is only 1% of defect leak? We are going to define our strategy. define our approach of how the testing has to happen. And this test strategy document also contains whether we have to have a automation testing completely or it will have partial manual testing. These things benefit.
Yeah.
I hope that answered.
Okay. So we'll move on next question. So which cloud certification is most suitable one for the testing?
Okay. Coming to cloud, we have AWS, Azure, Google Clouds. So all these cloud platforms are now in trend. To begin with, it's good to have a cloud practitioner certification so that we have basic knowledge on how cloud computing works. Going further, if you are a system admin side, go for a SysOps kind of a certification in Azure or AWS or Google GCP. If you are an architect level where you have a lot of exposure to the way architecture is made, how module is involved, what all different front end, back end you have to sit and design, then architect is a better one.
Yeah,
Okay, test strategy versus test plan is the next question, just Sharavan.
Yes.
Okay. Test strategy is organization specific. Test strategy is applicable to all the projects within the organization. I was earlier giving on the example of IBM. IBM is a big organization. It cannot sit and decide what it will have one single strategy for all the projects. I'm going to tell, if in a test strategy of IBM, it might have, I'm going to define definition of done for my project as 1%. We are only encouraging the project deployment, 1% of project deployment, and that will be part of my strategy. And we are also going to emphasize more on the automation part, wherein test plan is a document which is it will have strategy, but it will also have additional things in it. And test plan will specify more about the scope, objective, entry and exit criteria, risk assumptions, mitigation, release notes, environment, deliverables. These are all part of the test plan. Test strategy only considers about the approach, scope, those activities. And every project can have a specific test plan, but one organization will have only one strategy. Any more questions, Sharavan?
I think we covered everything. So, any other questions from the audience?
Any other questions?
One last question. So I am working right now in a health and fitness mobile app project, which involves a device on which we work out and then we check its result in the app. So not all the test cases are automatable because that involves the use of a third-party device, which we cannot every time run while we're doing a CI/CD. So my question is, if you add an automation tester in your team, it's a additional expense as well, of course, if he's only automating. So do you have a percentage like, okay, I want at least this much percentage of my test cases to be automated because that will justify the expense of an additional automation tester? Am I clear?
No. What I understood from your question is it required to have test automation because it comes with a cost?
Yes. So every project is different. Sometimes the project will have 90% test cases are automatable, but sometimes if it involves any other devices, it's not all the test cases are not automatable. Only 50% of them can be automated. So that may not always justify the additional expense. So do you have like a rough percentage that, okay, if this much test cases are can be automated, then I can have a tester in my team? Is there something like that?
Sorry, I am lost in the question now. Can you repeat the last?
Yes. So not all test cases are automatable. We check the feasibility of a test case, whether it's automatable or not. Correct. So if there are 10 test cases, it's possible that 5 of them are automatable. That means 50% test cases can be automated. So if that is a scenario, does that justifies the expense of having an additional tester in our team or not?
It is worth, because you are, from the example you gave, you are telling 50% of the test cases that are currently available we can automate.
Yes.
It is going to save the cost. Probably, automation first time it is going to take a lot of time and money. But however, from the next sprint onwards, next cycle onwards, it is going to save a lot of your time. And it will also give a lot of other scopes of automation as well. Once you have an automation tester, once you have an automation in your project, that gives a scope of lot of other things which can also be automated eventually.
Yeah.
It is worth having, because it will save your 50% of the time from second sprint onwards.
Correct. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we have one more question. Which test strategy approach is used general by companies? And what's the common strategy that is being used by companies?
From all the questions, right? From all the experience that I have, companies always look forward for bigger revenue and smaller expenses. And in order to do that, they want to bring the product which has a maximum impact with less expenses. So that's the first strategy. It could be automation, introducing automation, or it is going for the digitalization, or it could be even bringing the new technologies like AI, ML. It goes by the trend, and every company has a different. If it is a automobile company, they want to go for electric cars. That's a new trend. If it is a cloud related, they have a different approach. And if it's a typical software application, web-based application, they want to go for something where there is a very minimal defect, leak, other failures. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, that's all questions we have so far. So any other questions? Okay. Yeah, we got another question. So which framework is better for automation? Hybrid frame with Selenium, Java, or keyword-driven approach with robot framework? Which framework is better for automation?
Right now, even in our project, we are using hybrid framework only. So I see the trend of hybrid is increasing, even with the approach of DevOps.
Okay. So yeah, so we don't have any questions. We can. Thanks, Puornima. It was very insightful about the test management. As a lead, as a manager, as QA manager, whoever want to they want to grow to the next level. It will be very helpful for get more details about the test management. Right? So starting from the test estimations, involving them into story estimation planning, story grooming, everything. Right. So right from the scratch, the development life cycle, agile board. So it was, content was very grateful. It is very insightful. Hope everybody has enjoyed the content what Puornima has shared. Once again, thanks Puornima for buying this great content on our community.
Yeah, thank you, Vinayak and team, and thank you, Sharavan, for hosting it, and thank you to all the audience for patiently listening. Thank you, Manila.
Yeah. So with that, we are ending the things. So thanks everyone for joining today's session. And we have a dedicated Discord channel. So where all the QA tech talks or everything like job openings, everything will be discussed in the channel. So anybody has any questions on any technical things, so you can simply join the channel or Discord channel. You can ask, feel free to ask the question, and feel free to discuss the things about the QAs and tools, technologies. Okay. So follow us on our LinkedIn, which is a QA community. And we have other platforms as well. We have the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel as well, with the great content are being recorded and shared to the YouTube channel. Okay. So again, thanks everyone who participates on the event. So, and once again, thanks to our presenter and the entire team, core team of our QA community channel, and thanks to our partners as well, powered by Lambda Test, Map, Metricus, QTube, Test Compass, Certifying, Selectors Have, ATA, everything. And thanks to all the sponsors that we have, Axel Q, and the Restaurant, everyone. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on the next event. Thank you.